Yes. I've returned. You guys are probably, honestly, if I was you, I wouldn't have been expecting this. I'm back. Someone explained to me how a NBA YouTuber that does nothing but cover basketball skips the whole NBA finals. I couldn't tell you. I don't know why I did it, how it happened. I just hiatus the last month or so of everything going on, from the finals to the trades. The draft just finished. I do not know why I skipped so much time, if I'm being completely honest. I'm apologise to you guys watching the videos. I just have been very, very busy as of recently, in between doing things in my life. But hopefully I'm back now. Hopefully I will try and... I can't keep promising consistency and then not giving it to you guys, but all I will say is I'm just going to try my absolute best to get the best videos out I can to you guys for this extended period of time, because honestly, I let everyone down. I let myself down. NBA Finals, NBA YouTuber doesn't make a video. Somebody explain it. Long story short, I have no plans for this video today, if I'm being honest. I'm just going to recap everything that I've missed between my last video, which was like the end of the conference finals. So from that point then to this point now, I'm basically just going to go over everything with you guys together. May as well do it together and catch up with one another. Biggest thing that's happened in NBA Finals, the Celtics got their chip. It was all but coming for a very long time. Everyone saw the Celtics coming. Hats off to JT. Hats off to Jaylen Brown. You all played out of your minds. JT, as much as people continue to hate on you, you were one of the better players in the league. You stood up in this finals. You scored consistently. You were consistently rebounding the ball. You're even putting your assist tally up, getting close to triple-double some nights. So, hats off to you. Jaylen Brown, well-deserved Finals MVP. I don't think anyone else deserved it more than you did. You played out of your mind. Drew Holiday had his games down the stretch where he was a bucket, being the best wing defender in the league, like we all know he is. Derek White lost a whole ass tooth in an NBA Finals series on the last game for face planting going after a ball. So much went on over this final series, but if I'm being honest, Dallas just didn't match up well against the Celtics. Kyrie had a couple of bad games, and as soon as Kyrie had those bad games, it was pretty much all but over. Luka, as well as Luka played, Luka needs to stop complaining to the referees. There's a couple of times in that series where Luka was complaining to the referees, and it caused the Celtics to run up the other end of the floor and hit a three before he was even up the other end of the court, because he was busy arguing with Tony Brothers or whoever else was in the referees. It was an interesting series, but ultimately I don't think anybody saw the Mavericks actually coming back from that 3-0 hole. It was good to see a shine of light in Game 4 where they actually showed some fight and absolutely killed the Celtics, mind you. Whether people speculative, Celtics just wanted to go home and win it at home, whatever. I don't see that as the case. I think the Mavericks actually rocked up on that day and showed that they wanted to win the game. It was the last quarter of Game 3 where they actually showed some fight. They came back from that 20-point deficit. They actually showed some fight and looked like they actually wanted to play. And I said to myself in Game 4 that they were going to come back and show that fight, which penultimately they did. They showed their fight, took it back to Boston, and in the end, Boston were just too good. Boston just did everything they wanted to, scoring at a high level like they always do. The defense was unreal. Luka was having problems the whole series. Kyrie didn't really have a Kyrie game this series like he did with every other series that they had. And for the Mavericks to have any chance at winning this series, Kyrie needed to have a game. everyone's always, ever since Kyrie left Boston, they've all been on Kyrie's ass about Boston and Kyrie this and that and all their problems they've had. Kyrie needed to show up in this series, and I wanted Kyrie to show up in this series. It would have been, fairy tale story, but it just ended up not happening. There's not really much to say about it. Celtics, hats off to you. Al Horford, 38, 39 years old, finally get your chip. More than happy for you. Even the bench guys, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, those guys contributed. And because whenever Kristaps went out, because we'll get to Kristaps in a moment, whenever Kristaps went out, those guys always knew that they were the ones up next. Peyton Pritchard, who was a smaller guy, probably seen as a bit of a defensive liability, held his own to the best of his ability on that side of the ball, which we won't get into his half-court heaves because it was like half the points that he scored in the whole playoffs were half-court heaves, which is ridiculous. But he played very well, him and Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser started to find his stroke near the end of the series. Early on, he looked a bit rough, but he started to find it near the end. But those guys just impacted the game, and that's all they're really there to do, is just impact the game in those short spurts of minutes that they get. Because you've got guys like Kristaps Porzingis, who we'll get into now. Kristaps, as good of a player as he is, and as well as he played in Game 1, he's just so injury prone. He just hurts himself so often, and it just ruins the chemistry of teams that he's around, because when the Celtics did have Kristaps, they were far and away the best team in the comp. No one was going to beat them. No one even had a chance. But as soon as Kristaps went out, which he did every 15 or so games during the regular season and then missed extended time, it hurt their roster. They started to lose a couple of games, slip a couple of games, and that's, kind of affected them being one of the damn near perfect teams in the NBA. It's hard to explain, but Kristaps, he's one of those guys where you keep around because he is so good. But at the same time, you can't keep him around because he's so injury prone and prone to injury that he's unreliable in a sense. But other than that, Celtics, hats off to you. I know my brother's going to be happy, Celtics fan. He's going to have his moment with all this, as all other Celtics fans will. It was a very one-sided series. Celtics are the best team all year and continued it through the whole postseason. Other than that, what else we had? We had trades. There have been a couple of big trades go down. Today, Jaden McDaniels got traded for Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell is no longer a Sacramento King. Very, very strange to think about. Biggest trade that's happened so far, the Knicks, in my opinion, are now contenders. If Tom Thibodeau can get himself together and sort out his minutes and his rotations, the Knicks will look dangerous. They've given up Bojan Bogdanovic and 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. A lot of people have been saying 5 first-round picks for someone who's never made an all-star team is a massive overpay. But in my personal opinion, I think Mikal Bridges is going to have a ridiculous impact on that team. He's going to give them more defense, which they already have one of the best, role players in the whole association, Josh Hart. He's going to give them the defense that they need on the perimeter. He is going to score the ball for Jalen Brunson when Jalen Brunson is having off nights. Julius Randle's having off nights. Julius Randle's going to have someone to find in a corner. I expect Mikal Bridges to play a lot of corner sitting ball. He's not going to do what he was doing in Brooklyn and just shoot the ball, create his own shot, that sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, that's not who Mikal Bridges is as an offensive player. It is good having that luxury of knowing that he can create his own shot when needed, but for people like Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, they're going to find him and he's going to score the ball for them. It's mainly just his offense, and I think what they gave up for him, I see both sides winning this trade. The Brooklyn Nets fully get to hit that reset button, although they just gave Nicholas Claxton $100 million. He's still young. He's still going to stay on their roster for a very long time. But other than that, they're in full reset mode. Their haul that they ended up getting for Kevin Durant was like 9 or 8 first-round picks and Cam Johnson, which is insane because Cam Johnson's still young. Cam Johnson's going to stay on the roster for a very long time, and they're going to keep a plethora of picks that they're going to use to build their future over time. So I really do see both sides winning this trade. As you know, as skeptical as some people are, you have to really look at it. And then the next day, New York re-signed OG Anunoby for... I did not realise OG Anunoby was worth $212 million, if I'm being completely honest. But they see the value in OG Anunoby. They brought him back. They've got 2 gutsy wing defenders that are going to clamp up, and they are going to have the best team's best player every night. And because they're tall and athletic, they're going to be able to switch whenever they want onto whatever positions, play 1 through 4 positions, and they're going to just cause problems for the opposing team. If I'm going to be honest, when I saw the Mikal Bridges trade go through, I thought OG was gone. I thought Mikal Bridges was going to be that replacement for OG because there was constant talks throughout the media that OG Anunoby isn't going to re-sign and he's not happy with his situation and this and that. He is now re-signed and they are going to have some of the deepest wing defense in the whole comp. Insane to me. Last thing that I really wanted to get into, Bronny James. Congratulations, playing with your father. LeBron gets his wish. He's going to have a season with his son. And ultimately, as sad as it is for me to say, I think this is LeBron's last year in the league. All he wanted from the rest of his time to play with Bronny, and if that meant him playing out this season with the Lakers and then going to another team the following season to play that last season, then I would have seen him playing one more year. But now that Bronny's on this roster, Bronny's on the current Lakers, Bron's going to re-sign, he's going to go a 1 year, and he's going to ride off into the sunset at the end of this year. 40 years old is absolutely ridiculous to still be playing basketball, and I tip my hat to him every single day. He's still one of the best players in the league at 40 years old. Insane. He gets his wish. He's going to play with his son, and I see him leaving at the end of the year, which a conversation we will get to when that time comes, but that is just my hypothesis from this situation. I think that's half of the reason why the Lakers got Bronny is because of the doubt that was around LeBron James. They're going to be able to keep him around, but I think LeBron plays out this year and then gives it up. Other than that, top picks, French Phenoms is basically just the highlight text of the draft. Number 1 and number 2 both came from France, although one was playing here in Australia and one was playing overseas. It's an underwhelming draft class compared to the hype that we had last year with obviously Wemby and Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. Those guys were hyped up a lot more than the ones we got this year, but from what I've seen, most teams are happy with the situations that they've gotten. The Lakers get a good young stud. Zach Edey, basketball phenom over playing college ball for the last couple of years, goes to the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies needed another big guy, so it's going to be great for them. Ja Morant's already loving it, posting mindless nonsense on his Instagram. But it's going to be good. I have absolutely no problems with the draft. I didn't catch every single pick, as not many people do. But hopefully they come in and impact the game like Wemby and Brandon Miller did this year. I can't necessarily say Scoot because Scoot was on and off. But I hope, once again, the number 1 pick, because the number 1 picks of these last 5 years have been very good. So I hope that the number 1 pick again this year is as good as the rest of those. Obviously, he's not going to be as good as Wemby, but you know what I mean. That's about it. That's, I think, pretty much a recap. For the foreseeable future with this channel, I'm basically just going to jump on when big trades happen. I'm going to talk about big trades. I'm going to occasionally get on and play some NBA quizzes with you guys and play through that. It's just the trades, really. The trades are going to keep us flowing through this off-season, which is great. Free agency is up in a month or so. Free agency is going to be a whole nother roller coaster to especially see where my Klay Thompson goes. But that'll be a story for another day. I'm going to upload as much as possible. I can't promise consistent videos, but I'm going to get to most trades that we have now and everything that happens in free agency. I will be there. So without further ado, thank you guys for watching, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Helps me, gives me more motivation to actually get back on here and give this stuff to you guys. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the near future. Cheers, guys.